Hello my dear students, I once again welcome you to this new class, and we are going to begin a new chapter today, the chapter about the Indian Parliament. I am very sure you are all very well aware about the importance of our Parliament, and we all elect. Of course, you have not started voting, but all those who are above 18 years, they exercise their franchise, that is their voting right, in order to elect an MP to send to the Parliament as our representative, and he represents our problems in the Parliament, and he tries to make laws which are helpful for us in order to overcome our problems, to have social security, protection and all that. So that is the way the democracy functions, and Parliament is the most important organ, we can say, of a democratic government. Earlier we said about three organs of the state, that is legislative, executive and judiciary. So this legislature is part of this, or the Parliament is part of the legislature. It is the members of the Parliament who are part of the legislature, who are making laws and so on. So the most important duty of the Parliament is to have discussion, to make law and so on. So let us go in detail and see how the Parliament functions. So what are the important functions of the Parliament of our country and so on. And we know, we have studied from the lower class onwards the definition of a democratic government or democracy, that is by the people, for the people and so on. So the government, a democratic government, is ruled by the people, and it is for the people, not for anyone else, but so by the people and for the people. That way we know people are important in a democracy, not anyone else. People are the most important components in a democracy. So in Parliament, the citizens partake in decision making. So all of us cannot go to the Parliament and start discussing or make discussions and so on. So we send our representative from our constituency or from our area. So the entire country is divided into different constituencies according to the number of population, number of people living in that area, and the constituencies are divided. So we have around 545 constituencies are there, and so we have so many MPs also there in our country, in our Parliament. So all these are elected by the people in order to represent us in the Parliament and make us feel happy with the decisions that they make in the Parliament. And so we can say Parliament is the most important symbol of Indian democracy. So you can underline in your book, chapter 3, page 30. So Parliament is the most important symbol of our democracy, Indian democracy, and it is a key feature of the Constitution. So we were talking about Constitution in the previous lessons, and it is very clearly written that in the Constitution that India will have a democratic form of government, and Parliament will be a key feature. Parliament should be there as part of our Constitution, as a part of our government. So that's why Parliament is very important, because all the decision making, all the discussions, everything is done in the Parliament. So it is not done quietly somewhere behind the doors, but it is done openly in the Parliament, where people, representative of the people from all over the country are gathered there, and in front of them we discuss the policies and decisions of the government for the country. So in that way we said the democratic form of government is for the people and it is by the people, because we are electing our representative, we are choosing or we are deciding who will be making decisions for us, who will be the one representing us. That way we are responsible for the people whom we are electing. Suppose our MP is going to the parliament and not partaking in the discussions, or when the discussions are taken up with regard to our area or our state and our MP is absent there, so who is responsible? We cannot blame the MP. We have to blame ourselves, because we chose him. We chose him and sent him to the parliament. So we should have known about our candidate. Before voting, we should know what is the character of this person. Is he a sincere person? Is he a person who is loving the people? So we should find that good qualities are there in our candidate. Then only we can vote for him. If he just because this person has given me some money, so I vote for him, or this person is belonging to my party, so I vote for him. So if you go on that level, without looking into the quality of the person, if you go by party or other rewards, then at the end we are the losers. We will not get what we deserve. We will not get what is our due, what is our right, and so. Therefore, each person, each adult person should take care that he chooses the right person. Not because he is my relative, so I will vote for him. No. He should look at the quality of the person, the sincerity of the person, and the interest of the person to work for his people. All that should be considered before electing an MP or MLA and so on. So we say it is the people who decide for in the democratic government. Let us see, why should people decide? Why we say that people should decide? So we know India was under the British rule for such a long time. India was under British rule, and so the British said and the Indians obeyed. There was no discussion at all. The British government never called Indian leaders, come let us sit together and decide what is good for India. They never said. They always made a decision that will be suiting for the British, how they can make more profit, how they can carry more commodities from India and sell in England. That was their attitude, that was their idea. Therefore, they did not want the Indians to be part of that decision making at all. So it went on like that. Then the Indian National Congress leaders, they began to demand that they should be invited when there is a budget presentation. They should be invited because it is going to affect India. It is going to concern about the people of India. Therefore, the leaders should be invited to discuss about the budget and so on. So the protest went on, and many times the British did not listen to them, and many times they were arrested and put in the jail and so on. But by 1885, by the year 1885, British began to feel the pressure. So they said, okay, come, we will include you also. Come and sit with us, we will discuss together. So government gave little right, or little permission, not a full freedom, but a little bit of acknowledgement of the Indian leaders was given only in 1885. And so the Government of India Act, according in 1909, so British government passed an act. Act means a law. They passed a law in 1909 that allowed for some elected representation. So Congress was protesting from 1885 onwards. They were protesting from 1885 onwards, and after 24 years, government decided these people have been protesting so much, now let us give them a little bit so that they will be happy. So they made a new law in 1909, saying in that law they said people will be allowed to represent. They can elect some leaders. Indians can elect some leaders and send them to the British, so that when they make discussion or decision, these representatives can join them and give them their suggestion and so on. And while early legislatures under British government, so when the British was ruling, this was a legislature. Indians could elect some leaders and send them to the British for joining the discussions and so on. So they did not have much freedom. The people under this law, they can just go and sit there, they can say something, but the British will not accept it. British will not implement those discussions and suggestions. They will just say okay and make them happy. So people were not happy. Indian people were not happy. So they said there should be, all the people should be involved and they should be given right to vote. That is called adult franchise. They call it adult franchise. That is the right to vote. All those who are reaching the age of maturity. So in India now it is age is 18 years. Those who are 18 and years, they have got the right to vote. So Indians also demanded that people who are 18 years and old should be given the right to vote. Not just for few people, but everyone in the country should be given chance to vote. That means they should be given a chance to elect their representative and they should be able to join the decision making. That was the demand made by the people of India. Then it went on like that, the struggle went on like that, and the British, they were not ready to give all that Indians were demanding. They knew if you give them more freedom, it will be dangerous. They will not obey the British. The British will have to leave India. If they leave India, they will lose all their profits. So they wanted to control India maximum and as far as possible. Therefore, they did not listen to the Indian leaders. They tried to suppress them and so on. So when India got independent, they realized that under British how they were suppressed, how their dissensions were turned down. So they realized such a kind of situation should not occur again in our country. We must respect every citizen of our country and we must give all a chance to speak, to join the decision making and so on. So that way the people who made constitution, they made sure that the opportunity is given to everyone to say their opinion, to join the decision making and so on. That is how they wrote down in the constitution that there will be adult franchise. People who reach the age, earlier it was the age of 21 to do the voting. Now it is lowered and people who reach the age of 18 can vote. So they have a choice to say who should form the next government, who should be my representative. Every person has got a chance, has got a right. So the independent India, the leaders, they made sure that all these facilities are there. What was denied during the British rule, they made sure that it is restored and granted to all the citizens of India. So government realized that people have got their own decisions, very sensitive. Sometimes they may be affected very badly, sometimes may be suffering from poverty, sometimes they may be affected by security, violence and so on. So government want to take care of everything. So the government that is at the center in Delhi, they may not know what is happening in the corner of a country, especially what is happening in the northeast, because it is far away from Delhi. So every constituency should have a representative from that locality and he can represent the people in the parliament. He can share their problems to the parliament and so on. The prime minister or the president or other great leaders may not know what is happening in one corner of a country, but the MP is from that place itself. Therefore he will be able to represent. He will be able to make that problem known to the government in the parliament, and they will be able to solve that problem, able to make a proper decision to help those people to come out of the struggle, come out of that problem and live in peace as a free citizens of the country. So the adult franchise, that is what makes the parliament possible. Everyone can elect their own representative and send them to the parliament where they will represent the people. Now let us see about how we elect our representatives. So people and our representative, we and our representative, what do we do or how do we do, and so let us see. So we say for a democracy there are consent is there. The idea of consent. Consent means making agreement or desire or approve or participate and so on. So the consent. So what is the meaning of consent? It can mean desire. It can mean approval. It can mean participation. So when people say they give the consent, it means that they desire that this law should be passed, this rule should be passed, or they approve what the parliament is passing, the law. We say okay, we are happy with that, we agree with that, or we also join to discuss with that one and for agreeing, so we participate. So people join in the parliament, or we send our representative to join in the parliament to express our desire, to express our approval and to show our participation, especially in the decision making. So every law that is made in our country is discussed thoroughly in the parliament. It is not just one morning they get up and come and pass a law. No, they have to introduce it in the parliament, and we have two parliament houses. One is called the upper house, another one is called the lower house. So Lok Sabha is called the lower house, Rajya Sabha is called upper house. So in both places MPs are there, and these MPs will discuss it nicely, and the government should make sure that the bills are passed or the laws are passed with majority of vote. If more than half of the members don't support, then this bill cannot be accepted as a bill. It should be rejected. So always it is discussed nicely, and more than majority of the people are supporting it, only then it becomes a law, otherwise no chance. So it is the decision of the people. People means all the people in our country are not going and discussing in parliament, but our representative. So every MP will be representing lakhs of people in his constituency. How many people are there? All that people are represented by the MP in the parliament. So he is making the people's opinion there, the people's desire there in front of every other MP in the parliament. Then we may ask how the individual give approval to the government. Suppose the government is bringing a law, new law, and how are we to give approval to that? How are we? So we can read that law. They'll publish. These are the laws. These are the rules included in this law. That this benefit will be there. This will be there. That is not allowed. This is not allowed. So there will be so many rules will be there. It will be made known So people can join for election and elect their representative. Suppose the representative that we elected last time, we saw he went to the parliament and he was doing not what we want. He was doing things what he likes. Our ideas were not listened. Our ideas were not expressed there. Our desires were not expressed there. So what happened? You come for next election, we will show you. So people can change him. They can defeat him in the next election. So one election, if a MP wins one election, his duration is 5 years. After 5 years, there will be election again. So he cannot just say, I am elected, so I will be there till the end of my life. No. Every MP is elected only for 5 years. Suppose during these 5 years, we can observe how this person was performing his duties, how he was representing our problems there. Was he good? Was he effective? Was he active? Or was he going and sleeping there in the parliament and so on? So, if we find that he is not good, then make him defeated in the coming elections and elect someone else who is better than him. That way, people can decide or approve the government. So, the government who is doing well can be re-elected again, and the persons or MPs who are not doing well or the entire government is not doing well, make them defeated and so on. So, people can elect their representative depending on their performance, looking at their performance and so on. And when we elect MPs in the country or in the election, they all belong to different parties, or some of them remain as an independent, not belonging to any party. So when they are elected, after the election results are declared, they will calculate and see how many MPs are there for each party. And the party that gets majority of MPs members, they will form the government. And they will elect one person as the Prime Minister, and some other people will be elected as ministers, and all others will remain supporting the government. So, government, we said, is selected by the people by electing all the representatives. So, that is why we can say that it is the people who choose the government. It is the people who control the government. So no government can come and say, I will do whatever I like. So if we say that way, what will happen? That government will last only 5 years. After that, people will realize, let the election come, we will show you. So people will reject them completely and choose someone else, some other leaders who are better, who can represent us, who can present our aspirations and desires in the parliament and do something for the people, for their development and so. So that is very important. So that is how we say we are controlling the government. We are electing the government. So people are very much important in this parliament system. No leader can say tomorrow onwards I am the MP. No. People have to vote for him. People have to choose him. Then only he can become. And the next time when he stands for election, people will certainly observe how was his performance in the last time. Depends on that, he may be re-elected. If he did not do well, people may reject him, make him defeated and elect someone else. So remember, in democracy, it is we who are the government, we who are the representative, we who are the one controlling the government. So remember your right, and when you have that right to vote, when you reach 18 years of age, make sure that you exercise your franchise, that is your voting right for the right person, so that you will have a better representative and he will form a better government and do better for the country. So thank you for listening. We'll meet you again in the next class. Until then, bye.